is my new drink, an OG Diddy. An OG Diddy. Here's the recipe. You take 1.5 ounces of Ciroc vodka. You can only make it with Ciroc vodka. Other vodkas don't work. Then you take 1.5 ounces of lemonade. Pour it like so. Then you take 1.5 ounces of Welch's grape juice. Pour it. Welch's grape juice. Only OGs know about Welch's grape juice. That's why it's called an OG Diddy. Okay? Then you shake it like so. Then you pour like so. Now you don't have to have your own bartender to do this. You could do it at home if you're a responsible adult over the age of 21 who drinks responsibly and doesn't drink and drive. You're more than welcome to partake. And OG Diddy, here's to you. May all your dreams come true. Ciroc Ultra Premium Vodka. Peace.
Hey, where the bitches at? It's supposed to be titties. Where the fucking titties and the bitches?
Jurors saw the full freak-off tapes. While the moaning and the slapping had some clutching their pearls, Diddy trial week 6 left us with a black juror replaced with an older white juror. What it means for the case, and for the first time, receipts shown in court, the travel records and company credit cards the feds say Diddy used to set up freak-offs and transport male escorts to Cassie.
What account did the money come from? Are you using this money from a business account?
All right, I have Saren Tarawali and Jade Whiteside here, TSR reporters on ground, covering the Diddy trial. Week 6, ladies, it started with a juror that was dismissed. Talk about this juror. He was a black man replaced by a white man, an older white man.
Yeah, so his replacement caused a lot of uproar within the courtroom and also outside of the courtroom because everyone was saying that this black man who's on a very diverse jury actually is being dismissed because of his inconsistency with the responses about where he lives. Of course, honesty is the best policy, so the judge stood on his decision and decided to remove him from the case.
Gotcha. And where he lives, he said that he lived in the Bronx, but has been living with his girlfriend. Also, he answered some questions saying that he's been living with his girlfriend in New Jersey.
He had various different responses from his conversations inside of the court with other people, but also the answers that he put down when they initially asked him the questions about where he lives. And of course, these things are all important because you want to make sure that the jury is a jury of his peers so that he gets a fair shot at freedom.
How do you think this will play out in court for both prosecution and the defense? Obviously, it throws a wrench in a lot of things, having a juror of a different race. For the defense, it could mean that there are less people of color. It does mean that there are less people of color in the juror pool now. And for the prosecution, they now have to keep this new juror abreast of what's going on. So what does this mean for the case moving forward?
I mean, we really don't know. The judge did not want to discuss any questions about the race aspect because he believes that this is a fair jury. And the reason why they have alternate jurors are for situations like this. So he believes that it's still fair and the case is still ongoing.
Gotcha. Jade, you also spent some time in the courtroom as well. What did you see? You were obviously there for cross-examination of one of the prosecution's key witnesses.
Yeah, so when I attended court, Special Agent Penland, she was on the stand and she spoke to a lot of the evidence that the government had within its charts. And during the cross examination, at the start, they wanted to get a clear definition on what her role is. And with a lot of the text messages and evidence that they asked her to read within the court, it was obvious that they were trying to make their point that, within Diddy's and Cassie's, relationship, that a lot of the things were consensual. We've read about and we've heard about, these hotel nights, freak offs, and a lot of the text messages that she read, consisted of her, Cassie saying, I want to do this. And Diddy would say, I'm on whatever you're on. They would kind of cooperate and kind of figure out which escort they were going to use for these incidents and stuff like that. And even just speaking to their relationship outside the bedroom, there were a lot of text messages between them where they talked about, loving one another. I know one text message that stood out to me while listening to the back and forth on the stand with the agent as well as, the defense. There was I can't remember the exact year, but there was a year for Father's Day. Cassie, she texted Puff and she, wished him for Father's Day. And she said, I can't wait for us to have a child of our own where we can celebrate Father's Day. So I think they just wanted to make it clear that, she, at some point definitely was willingly in this relationship. There was love that was present in this relationship. And, she wasn't being held against her will. She wasn't being forced, to love him and stuff like that. So I think that was definitely, the key thing that they were trying to get across in the courtroom that day.
Yeah, it's something that people have been going back and forth. Was this something that Cassie was held against her will for, or did she agree to do those things? And that's something that ultimately the jury is going to have to decide. And to your point, Jade, they brought two summary witnesses that also showed hotel records. Saren, these hotel records, they painted a picture of bank records and documents and travel records, and their prosecution is trying to prove that Diddy used some of his money, his bad boy credit cards, however he got money and gave it to Cassie to get some of these prostitutes to Cassie. Can you talk about that, and can you kind of just run down some of the bank records and travel records that were admitted in court?
Yes, we got into a lot of the logistics this week in court. So we looked at some of the receipts, some of the damages, the amount of the damages that they would cause to the hotel. Of course, during Cassie's testimony, she spoke about there being damage to the linens and the curtains, and there being baby oil everywhere on the walls, the carpets being damaged. And these receipts actually back that up.
We don't give a fuck! Jesus! We don't give a fuck!
I'm like, whew. I'm about to break her back.
Were you required to go down on her?
No.
Did they ask you to?
I think they knew better, like, you know what I'm saying? They kind of caught my vibe.
So that was a lot of money. So definitely you were like, oh, if they call again, let me know.
Yeah, holla at me. I thought I was going to get more than that because there was a stack of hundreds like that sitting on the dresser. And I'm like, whew. I'm about to break her back.
What are my winos doing in the chat? Are they okay? Did you know whose baby mama Jane Doe was?
I didn't until I talked to him. Remember I told you my boy?
Yeah.
Him. So the next weekend at the show, I was like, damn, bro, that's crazy. It was. And he pulled up on the phone. He was like, was this her? And I was like, yeah. I was like, how the fuck you know that? And he was like, that's 50 Cent baby mom. And I was like, no fucking way. I was like, no way. And then, I instantly Googled the shit, and I was like, that's crazy.
And I'm proud of my brother. My brother is really gonna go down in history as a living legend. You know what I'm saying? And don't wait for nobody to give you your flowers. You know what I'm saying? Because I done already gave them to you, and I don't know if the bouquet gonna.
That's all I need. I don't need it from nobody else.
You know what I'm saying? Except for your wife and God.
Tells me out of his own mouth. He says, listen, she said you were the best penis she ever had in her life. Wow, really? He said, yeah. He says, yo, she wants you to come back. She just needs some time to rest.
You were, according to you, the main one that Cassie called for almost 10 years of the relationship.
8 years, because I don't want you to be sued for anything. 8 years. Okay.
8 years, okay.
I'm in the actual freak off video. Several of the videos, unfortunately, are me covered in baby oil in a room with Cassandra Ventura. I was called by Cassie to have a sexathon. And basically, the goal of this sexathon was for one of us to last the longest. Whoever lasts the longest was going to become her main boy toy. Tasha K, I see your face. This is the truth. So for 2 days, myself and Daniel Phillip, we participated in this sexathon, Sex and Cassie. Daniel Phillip kind of hung in there, but I think Wednesday morning actually, I think the morning of the wrap up of the thing, he finally couldn't participate anymore. Not because something's wrong with him. He had been up 2 days. He's back to back having sex with her. He was tired. So he couldn't perform anymore, but I still could. So I finished her off. I end up winning. Diddy comes out the room after he carries her in the other bedroom. He pays Daniel Phillip. Daniel Phillip leaves. He comes to me. He tells me out of his own mouth. He says, listen, she said you were the best penis she ever had in her life. Wow, really? He said, yeah. He says, yo, she wants you to come back. She just needs some time to rest. I said, all right. Now, I had been in there 2 days, so I needed to go to work. I was an optician. Cassie paid me so well. It was kind of like a no-brainer. Beautiful woman, $5,000 every time I got to break it down. What? 30
Rico said during our interview last week that the pay was $5,000.
had caught me texting another man. We was in Miami. It got really crazy that time. We was upstairs and he had like, we were in his closet and he like pushed me and I fell to the ground and then he like stood over me. So I was like laying on my back and he stood over me and he started like punching me like this. Like he avoided my face, but he like started punching me like on the side of my head and I was just like covering my face. And then after he got done doing that, he like stomped on my stomach like really hard and I like took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe and he kept hitting me and I was like pleading to him like, can you stop? I can't breathe. And he like stopped for a little bit. He like grabbed my hair from the back and like was like punching the back of my head. Cause he was just avoiding my face when he was like hitting me.
Oh, you think it's funny, bitch? This is pimping here. I've been on Wheel of Fortune, Prices Right. Oh, it's just funny. Come on with it.
Dominating text was the one that says, I ain't arguing with no bitch that got cheap-ass lint ball carpet in their house. Keep in mind, Diddy been running this gamut for 20 years. Not ever one of his bitches ever came on social media and outed another bitch beefing publicly. Kim Porter never beefed with nobody. Cassie never beefed with nobody publicly. It's until he dated a ghetto ratchet city girl who them chicks, they're so embarrassing, they don't care if they embarrass themselves. Gina, you been down bad forever. Since I came in the picture, ho, you've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bitch that eats and whenever he feel like. You a eater! You the same bitch that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor Sushi. You wanted a baby, bitch. I have a career, ho. You a certified freak. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards. Reminiscence on abortions. Oh, my God. When a chick mentioned the fact that you got an abortion, that's like a nigga dissing another gangster's dead homie. It's up. I told you. Young Miami fucked up the whole play. These chicks, they all knew about each other. They were stupid as shit. They won't hit each other up to be like, yo, he telling me he only fucking with you, da-da-da-da. He fucking with me like this. They would never talk. That's why in any good company, HR rule book, you tell them, don't discuss your pay with your coworker. You know why? We don't want you bitches to think this is a union. This ain't no fucking union for you hoes. When you deal with a ratchet bitch, she might even plot with one of your other hoes against you. That's like a union. You can't have no union. That's why Jeff Bezos don't like unions. He don't want no union for Amazon. Nobody likes unions. What I pay you, don't worry about what she get paid. Just worry about what you get paid.
So yeah, like last time I seen Dre when we was talking about that shit, she was with Puff. And I
fucked her?
I feel like she was giving the nigga a hand. This nigga Puff was trying to have a meeting with me or whatever, and like fucking we there, and like Cassie's in the house or whatever, and like Dre is there or whatever, and like Dre is sitting next to him.
Yeah, the threesome.
And the nigga's trying to have a meeting with me, and like I think that like Dre like giving him a hand job or something under the cut blanket. While we in there. I'm like, bro, I don't want to talk too much. I went back downstairs with Travis Scott.
Wait, Dre a freaky like that?
I don't know.
I ain't gonna lie. This is some line. She said my wholeness could be deleted. And honestly, if she wasn't that attractive, I would say no, he can't. But if she's so bad, I'm like, yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. For her, he can.
She bad.
So she gave him a hand job. I thought did he like niggas though?
I don't know what did he do behind closed.
Wait, back to the Dre and shit. So when you watching her giving this nigga a hand job, like is Diddy like having eye contact with you?
No, he ain't breaking character. Like we having a full meeting.
So he's getting jacked off and he's still sitting there like, yo, Playboy, check this out.
I'm assuming what's happening. I can't confirm or deny, but I was assuming.
No, Dre, old school free. I ain't gonna lie to you, yo, that basketball player she dating gonna start catching phase with all the niggas. You, Gilbert Arenas, because everybody, you heard their story. They said she was in the backseat giving neck. I know she freaky. I like freaky chicks, but I don't want no freaky chicks that nobody can tell a freak story about.
A lot of shit pissed me off. Like we got P. Diddy still on trial, you know. They haven't actually made a decision on if he's even looking at life or looking at 15 or what it could be. They're just checking out all the evidence and stuff like this, and it's going to be breaking news as soon as they let us know. If they made a decision, if the jury's come back with anything. So a couple of people have been kicked off the jury already. Certain people from Bronx, New York, and blah blah blah. The thing is, man, this is all a power grab. They were already trying to threaten Diddy because he sued him about the racist stuff they were doing with his liquor company. And you already know what it's all about. It's all about the money. They're going to drain Diddy for his funds. They might even give him a little time, but I doubt he gets a lot of time. This is a weak case. If you're going to consider him flying out these working guys to have sex with Cassie, I think Cassie needs to be prosecuted as well because she was making false and doing deeds. Unless you're going to say she was coerced or forced in any type of way to do these things. But we still haven't heard anything. We're just waiting to see the jury coming back with a decision, and we'll see the fate of P Diddy. So hopefully this doesn't destroy him because he hasn't really beat any women up that really wanted to pursue it criminally. He really hasn't took advantage of anybody that didn't want to get took advantage of or accept the money for whatever they were doing. So I mean, I see everybody else free. I see everybody else laughing and giggling and sniggling and counting their bread. There's a couple of sore losers, but that comes with the game. I don't see nobody else that we need to question or talk to. Cassie husband out spending all her money at the casino. He's enjoying himself. What's the problem? Anybody? Any other victims? I know they were talking about there's over 100 victims from Diddy. We seen any of these cats come out? We seen the prostitutes come out and they smiling and laughing and shit. They ain't nothing. The only victim was supposedly Cassie, and she seemed like she was threatening more people and having more fun than anybody. Probably got more vacations and more money and album sales and more clout than any one of these people that you're going to bring up that's in this case, besides Diddy. Everybody knows Cassie's name, and she's already got paid before she even came to court. Diddy settled out of court with Cassie. So, like I said, everybody got their cash and prizes, and Diddy is still locked up. Everybody else is going to spend their money, and Diddy's still locked up. Is this really about who's the victim, or was this really about the liquor company not liking how a nigga was going to come and try to get their bread and start his own thing and think he has any power over them? And now, especially when they thought they had it in the bag and he actually won that case. Once he won that case, it was just a matter of time before they developed enough evidence or whatever they were going to do to try to get Diddy to get prosecuted. With anything, shit, it doesn't even seem like they're really building a solid case for it's undeniable that he done anything wrong. It's still up in the air, and I've heard most of the evidence. I think, I mean, unless they got some new stuff in there that he's been beating women and holding them in the closet. I haven't heard anything. Everybody's paid. Everybody's got their winnings. Everybody's running to the casino. Everybody's having a good time. Besides Diddy. That's why I'm just okay. Is it just about the liquor company? Everybody that snitched on him testified against him. They all out free. They ain't tripping. It is what it is, man. Silence acceptance. We ain't having it. Like, comment, subscribe.